Good evening. My name is Pastor Brown. The last few weeks we have been in a series entitled Is Gay Okay Yet? Straight Talk with Dr. Brown. Today we're about to do part 4. If you missed the first 3, you can always go back on Facebook, New Hope Baptist Church of Hampton, Ohio, or Marcus Brown on YouTube. But again, we're going to start lecture number 4 in 2 minutes. So grab your cup of coffee or your favorite beverage. Please share with your friends, and we will see you in 2 minutes. If you miss me from singing down, and you can't find me nowhere, then why don't you come to right glory? You know that I'll be waiting up there, waiting up there. Said if you miss me from praying down here, yeah, Lord, all right, you can't find me nowhere, then why don't you come to right glory? You know that I'll be waiting up there, waiting up there. Now won't you come on up, don't stop there, come on up, it's praying time, come on up, see the King, come on up, around the throne, come on up, mother's there, come on up, father too, come on up, sisters there, come on up, brother too, come on up, 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 come on up. Well, you know I'll be waiting up there, waiting up there. Well, see if you missed me from shouting down here. All right. The LGBTQ plus individuals are very serious, as you well know, regarding their agenda, and seems as if they will stop at nothing to further it. If their agenda is not allowed, regardless of your, let's say, religious conviction, they possibly will have you removed or dismissed from certain programs or even occupations. Here's an example regarding a young woman who was in school. Julia Ward, an African American woman who was in a graduate program doing fine in a counseling program in Michigan. She was doing great. Their work as interns included counseling people. She's given a homosexual client and told to affirm this person's gay relationship. She goes to her professor and supervisors to tell them that, quote, I can't do that as a Christian. What would you recommend that I do, close quote. She going on to say, quote, I'm happy to counsel them. I just can't affirm their homosexual relationship as a Christian, close quote. The college said, quote, no problem at all, close quote. However, it actually became a problem in college, and as a result, she was called on the carpet by the university. She was called on the carpet by the university, was subjected to an investigation, accused of being bigoted and intolerant with her views, and eventually was kicked out of the program at school. All right, so let's talk about science. What does the science say? Are people born with a gay gene? Dr. Francis Collins, director of the Genome Project, has stated that, quote, homosexuality is not hardwired. There is no gay gene. We mapped the genome, the human genome. We know that there is no genetic cause for homosexuality, close quote. The news the LGBTQ was waiting on never materialized because they expected this. They expected science to prove that there was a gay gene of some sort, but it never materialized, causing parades to be canceled. The LGBTQ plus was hoping the science, again, can justify the notion that people are born gay. On April the 14th, 2003, the International Human Genome Consortium announced the successful completion of the Genome Project 2 years ahead of schedule. The press reported that the human genome is complete and the Human Genome Project is over. And you can see this report, of course, if you want to research it. Most of the major science journals reported on the program in the field of genetics, but also speculated on how the information will now be used. The one piece of information that never materialized from the Human Genome Project was the identification of the so-called gay gene. Homosexual attraction is determined by a combination of familial, environmental, social, and biological influences. Inheritance of predisposing personality traits may play a role for some. Consequently, homosexual attraction is changeable. Scholars at Johns Hopkins University released a new report on Monday, the 22nd of August in 2016, which argues that there is not sufficient evidence to suggest that lesbian, gay, or transgender people are born with the sexual orientation or gender identity. The study breaks down in 3 parts. First, Mayer and McHugh examined whether homosexuality is an inherited trait and concluded that people are not simply born that way. Second, they looked at the causes of the poor mental health associated with gay and transgender people, concluding that social stress does not explain all of it. Finally, they studied transgenderism, concluding that there is not innate or that transgender treatments are associated with negative outcomes. Studies of the brains of homosexuals and heterosexuals have found some differences, but have not demonstrated that these differences are inborn rather than the result of environmental factors that influence both psychological and neurobiological traits. The report explained. One environmental factor that appears to be correlated with non-heterosexuality is child sexual abuse victimization, which may also contribute to the higher rates. Contrary to the born that way myth, the scientific evidence links homosexuality to social and parental influences combined in varying degrees with biological predispositions in some people. Sexual orientation is not fixed at birth, but rather is environmentally shaped and unfolds slowly across childhood, adolescence, and even into adulthood for some individuals. Most students, over 85%, with same-sex attractions will ultimately adopt a heterosexual orientation if not otherwise encouraged. We talked about this earlier. Most questioning students are experiencing temporary sexual confusion or are involved in experimentation. We had talked about this. Rigorous studies demonstrate that most adolescents who initially experience same-sex attraction or are sexually confused no longer experience such attractions at the age of 25. In one study, as many as 26% of 12-year-olds reported being uncertain of their sexual orientation, yet only 2 to 3% of adults identify themselves as homosexual. Therefore, the majority of sexually questioned youths ultimately adopt to a heterosexual identity. Homosexuals in the United States and Denmark, the latter of which acknowledged to be highly tolerant of homosexuality, both die on average in their early 50s or in their 40s if AIDS is the cause of death. The average age for all residents in either country ranges from mid to upper 70s. More of the same. We talked about this. The Gay and Lesbian Medical Association reports breast cancer is the most common cancer diagnosed among women and is the leading cause of cancer death among women in the United States, following cancers of the skin and lung. Recent research has identified risk factors for breast cancer that may differentially affect lesbian and bisexual women, including nulliparity, women who have never had a child, and higher rates of alcohol consumption and overweight that may place the population at greater risk than heterosexual women of developing breast cancer. AIDS and homosexuality. The CDC estimates that roughly 2% of U.S. population The CDC estimates that roughly 2% of U.S. population is gay, yet it accounted for 61% of HIV infections in the year 2009. Just 10 years later, again, new cases of HIV, 70% of the new HIV cases occur in homosexual and bisexual males. All right. We could say a lot about science, but let's move on. But the bottom line is there has been, through extensive studies, there is yet to be found a gay gene. It does not exist. It does not exist. There are other contributing factors that contribute or play in to individuals who go down the avenue of homosexuality. Again, there is no such thing as a gay gene. They have not found one, and quite frankly, they never will. So let's look at the media. We got about 12 minutes. I want to keep it 25. Let's look at the media real quick. All right. Look at this. The new normal is about a gay couple who arrange a pregnancy with a surrogate. Then you have The Modern Family, a step further by focusing on a gay couple. And I'm just mentioning some things. You got this TV show called Partners on CBS. Split the difference with architects, one straight, one gay, who are best friends, a show made by creators of Will and Grace. And then you have the Queer as Folk reboot, reimagines the 1999 British series and its 2000 U.S. adaptation for a modern generation with a diverse cast of recurring non-white, disabled, gender fluid, and transgender actors. They joyfully perform, I'm talking about this Queer as Folk, they joyfully perform homosexual acts, do drugs, and lip sync the house down boots. Let's talk, and you know as well as I do, you can't turn the television on without finding something like this. You just can't do it. Hollywood movie theater also played its part in perpetuating the gay lifestyle. Of course, the infamous movie Brokeback Mountain in 2005. Americans called it an epic romantic drama. This film depicts the complex romantic and sexual relationship between two men in American West from 1963 to 1981. Then you have You Are My Sunshine, the story of the lifelong romance between Tom and Joe from the first meeting in the 1970s. Then you have Palmer, an ex-convict, strikes up a friendship with a boy from a troubled home. Everybody's talking about Jamie, a feature film adaptation of the musical about a teenager from Sheffield, England, who wants to be a drag queen. And look at this guy. CNN reported Billy Porter. This individual made history by winning an Emmy in 2019 for the role as Pray Tell, a character who is HIV positive on the FX series Pose. DC and Marvel Comics. You can't leave them out. Green Lantern. The Green Ring bearer Alan Scott will be reintroduced as gay in the new series. Although the character of Alan Scott has a history with women, he's previously gotten flirty with his part-time secretary, part-time villainous rival Harlequin, and even married and had 2 kids. The new series wipes Scott's backstory completely clean. That's not to say, however, that he's lost any of his super qualities. He's not just the gay character, Robinson said. He's Alan Scott. He's the leader of the team. He's a type A personality and a successful businessman. He's gallant. He's brave. He's all the things you want in a superhero. Marvel Comics, which announced that it would be hosting its first same-sex wedding in June 20 issue of Astonishing X-Men. Superhero speedster North Star, who was also the first major comic book character to declare himself gay in 1992's Alpha Flight number 106, is tying the knot with his long-term partner, Kyle, making for comics' first interracial, same-sex, and mutant human marriage. Both DC and Marvel Comics brought out their gay characters during Gay Pride Month, a month celebrated by the former president, Barack Obama, since he's been in office. Since the time now look at cartoons. Shizao. Shizao is an Australian-Canadian animated television series created by Obi Scott Wade, originally made as a short for Disney Channel's Shortly McShorts in 2007. It began airing on Network 10 on 15 December 2012 and ran for 26 episodes. And there is talk of a second season in the works, aimed at kids 6 to 11 years old. The series is produced by Moody Street Kids and Kickstart Productions. It is distributed by DHX Media and funded in part by Film Victoria. It was designed by Australian artist Kyla May. The series protagonist, a 12-year-old boy named Guy Hamden, discovers the superheroine Shizao's power ring, originally worn and used by his late Aunt Agnes, and puts it on. While the power ring does grant him superpowers, it was only meant to be worn by a woman, so Guy must wear a female superhero costume while fighting crime. In the United States, it was added to the schedule lineup of Hub Networks on June 1st, 2013. The show was considered controversial at that time by several conservative Christian groups for using cross-dressing as a source of humor. With 1 Million Moms, an affiliate of the American Family Association, being one of the groups targeted, should anyone else be outraged for this? Here's one everybody knows about this fella, Tyler Perry, who also plays Medea. With some of the African American fathers missing from the family, you would think that Tyler Perry would have been helping the African Americans by playing an older gentleman instead of a woman. Now he does play the role of a male, but the leading role goes to a woman. Now why is that? Well, listen. God instructed the nation of Israel, ancient Israel, in Deuteronomy 22:5, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. Now listen, you ain't got no, if you're a man, you have no business putting on women's clothes and vice versa. But Tyler Perry does that, and he's made millions of dollars. This is a command against transvestitism. Vestitism. and still applies to men and women today. However, some have mistaken what God is referring to here, believing that it was wrong for a woman to wear pants. This is not the case. Clearly, God is referring to a woman dressing up to look like a man and vice versa. A truly converted woman will convey a meek and quiet spirit. That's 1 Peter 3 and 4. And this will be reflected in the type of clothing she wears. Her apparel will be appropriate for the occasion and stylish if affordable, while remaining modest and proper. The heart of such a woman will be pleasing to God. Let's talk about the music industry. Rapper Murs, a 34-year-old California rapper who is very popular on the mixtape circuit, a little while ago, created a new video for his song Animal Style. The video, which images of him kissing a dude, was made specifically to combat what many feel is an anti-gay culture in hip-hop. We may officially be entering a new era of hip-hop. There was the conscious rap era, the gangster rap era, the bling era, and now we're entering the world of gay acceptance rap. As rapper Murs. While most were focused on Miley Cyrus's behavior in 2013 MTV VMA Awards, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis scored a huge win for their hit video with the Mars Lewis Same Love, as it became an unofficial LGBT theme song over the summer. A clip from the song entitled Same Love says this: the right-wing conservatives think it's a decision, and you can be cured with some treatment and religion. Man-made rewiring of predisposition playing God. Ah, nah, here we go. America the brave still fears what we don't know, and God loves all his children is somehow forgotten. But we paraphrase a book written 3,500 years ago. I don't know. Then he says, and I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love. Are you sure that you can't change, Macklemore? Well, let's talk about something with black folks. The feminization of the young black male using hip hop. On July 15, 2012, you knew it was coming. Now it's here. Hip hop has officially embraced gay culture. First R&B singer Frank Ocean came out of the closet, releasing an album that included gay love songs. Now other rappers are doing something similar. Look at this dude. We know him. The devil doesn't only wear Prada. Rapper Lil Nas X sparked intense debate online over Palm Sunday weekend with the release of a controversial pair of Satan shoes, which featured a bronze pentagram charm, an inverted cross, and actual human blood. And then this satanic video, Lil Nas X is seen giving Satan a lap dance. As culture changes, so must some secular definitions and understandings. For example, back when some of us were growing up, we had several friends and acquaintances. However, the main ones we called partner. We'd say, that's my partner. Neither one of you were homosexual, because it was, common colloquialism of the day for two close friends to be dubbed as friends. Can't do that now, though. Contrary to what one believes, sagging, a lot of young black males sag their pants, dates back to centuries during slavery. During slavery, slaves were forced to wear oversized clothing to discourage escapes. The ideal was that oversized attire would prevent slaves from running away. In prisons, no belts were given that would aid in suicide or other forms of violence. If jumpsuits were worn, they were always too big. Now, although there is some truth to the old rumor of sagging being a sexual sign in prison, today's sagging is a symbol of incarceration, of which many of our young black males wear as a badge of honor. as if being in the state pen is the same as graduating from the University of Penn State, which obviously is a university. The young black males identified crisis stemming from his ignorance of his own black history, causing him to govern himself in ways unimaginable. In addition, the gay community loves to see young black men walking around showing their drawers. To them, it looks very inviting, and many indicate to them that you want to give them what they want. Ruby Conley, a baker I used to work with, used to say, just about when you saw it all, here it comes. If you thought that was stopped at sagging pants, which is niggas backwards, look at what has occurred in the hip hop world. Again, look at this. Kanye West, P. Diddy, DJ Benny, Omar F. wearing female clothing. Veteran gangster rap Snoop Dogg still enjoys defying all the rules of so-called authentic black masculinity found in mainstream hip-hop culture. After reinventing himself as the devoted father and Snoop Lion, the reggae-infused advocate of black consciousness and universal love, he is now using Instagram to promote his fierce dual-chrome French manicure complete with a marijuana leaf and $sign. When rapper 50 Cent questioned the masculinity of Snoop Dogg, Snoop replied, real players keep their nails fly fresh and dipped in the tip. As Christians, where should we draw the line? I tell you what, let's stop right there. Lord willing, come back on tomorrow. Yes, we're coming back on Saturday at 6 p.m. and we will continue our series looking at this question, is gay okay? Straight Talk with Dr. Brown. Until then, peace and blessings to you, and thanks for stopping by.